I could not be more pleased to be rising to support this bill, which is the Climate Change Response Act Amendment Bill and the Forestry Conversions issue, and I thank Minister Macleay for progressing this. It is part of the New Zealand First National Coalition Agreement. In my view, in having the honour of being the Minister for Rural Communities, this is the most consequential bill to come before this House in this term of Parliament for our rural communities. Whole of farm conversions of some of our most productive land, if left unchecked, we're in the process of shuttering large swathes of rural New Zealand. Action is both necessary and overdue. The emissions trading scheme creates a mismatch of profitability for land use options. The current pricing for a tonne of carbon, it's around $59 a kilo. Is somewhere near 5 times more profitable than sheep and beef farming, and sheep and beef farming is going pretty well at the moment. It is now estimated to be competitive with dairying. I know, I planted some myself. I've taken advantage of the scheme. Why would I not? It would be looking a gift horse in the mouth. But this is not about vilifying forestry. It is $6 billion worth of export earnings. It is a legitimate and valuable land use. But we do have large areas of less productive land that we can plant in forestry and utilise the scheme. It's very much a right tree, right place strategy that we're trying to get back to here. It does create opportunities to integrate forestry in with sheep and beef farming primarily. It does in a mosaic type approach, and it can help cash flow farm succession. So it's not all downside by any means for our rural communities. But when whole farms are planted out, livestock are culled, some 2 million stock units estimated since 2017. That share is gone, farm labour is gone, stock agents gone, fruit and seed reps gone, vets gone, contractors gone, truckies gone, that's families gone. That's the viability of our rural communities, our schools, our local pubs, wide-ranging impacts. And it is flowing into our provincial towns. The closure of Smithfield Meatworks in Timaru and the loss of some 700 jobs is the canary in the coal mine, and there will be more. If we're doubting the consequences of what we're doing here, when governments are pulling levers like this week's Farmers Weekly, I think, shows it all. There is a quote here from the Bailey's Gisborne director, Simon Bousfield, who estimates the average value of hill country farmland has dropped by $5,000 per hectare on the current market as a relation to and direct result of us bringing these measures in. Decisions we make in this place do have consequences. We're not doing them lightly, but we are doing them for good reason. They are inflated values, and what we're looking to do is return farmland value to its productive value as both sheep and beef and forestry land. We need the sheep and beef sector that is doing really well at the moment and has great potential, and I'm so focused on the wool for this reason. We need to get sheep and beef farming profitable again so that we can be a competitive land use, but they do deserve a fair fight. We can't plant our way to net zero. The burden is falling disproportionately on rural New Zealand and our sheep and beef sector, and we will not allow them to be collateral damage. This bill is sensible. It rebalances the drivers of land use change. It seeks to protect the viability of New Zealand, rural New Zealand. I do take the note of some of the opposition speeches. I do think within the Select Committee it is quite a complex bill. I do think we should be open to sensible changes around some of the settings. But New Zealand First strongly commend this bill to the House.
I think Steve Abel did a better job. Yeah, I am a bit biased here, but look, I think the best way to help farmers and to help out with the distortions in the market is for industries to work on reducing emissions. We do need to invest in things like public transport, but if we keep ignoring the impact that pollution is having on the climate, the farmers are going to be screwed either way, right? They're either going to be screwed because there's more trees, or they're going to be screwed because the climate's cooked everything.
Now, here's a question. This has come through on the question sheets for the local body elections. Brilliant question that came up on there. Now, I'll sit down there and get it where you are, where at least it won't say who the person's name is. But it's about flood prevention in Carterton.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And it's definitely, it's basing it on... So it sits there and says here, flood issues / protections. It's quite ironic that it's ended up being covered in the show here. 20 years ago when I came to Carterton Wairarapa, the rivers were dredged for aggregate to local companies that are set up close to the river for that purpose.
Yep.
As a family, we used to go down to the river, i.e. being below the landline, and this was deeper for flood protection purposes, and at the aggregate being cheaper to buy due to the process / transport being closer. Today, councils have prevented this practice to protect the river. Really, aggregate companies now have to sieve dirt and stone, labour-intensive on leased land and costly to the end user. We also now have rivers that are in many areas at a land level height, i.e. we don't walk down, we walk across. Now, with heavy rain, you have to have set a course for a floodplain to arise, and there's no way to funnel the water for great volumes. Deep rivers did this. Councils and regional councils need to reassess this non-practical decision. The floods we had 20 years ago will come again, and with the current policy, the flood damage will be very large, and will be solely your own doing. Now, it's going to be interesting how to actually decipher a question out of that. But basically, this came through today as a question from a potential It's in the Ballot viewer from Carterton.
Yeah, I know exactly what they're referring to, and my answer to that question would be fixing rivers is a nice to have. If you want to take your complaint, to
you're actually right. It will be to groundswell. It will be a nice to have, and then the nice to have suddenly is why wasn't that essential when their land floods?
Well, I mean, this is what happens because it costs money to fix rivers, and if you've got special interest groups that are coming along saying we don't want to pay more rates, well, I'm sorry, that's the end result.
Yeah,
council's going to make money somehow. They're going to dredge the river for aggregate and all sorts of stuff because you've got to build roads and stuff. What do you expect is going to happen? Yeah, of course you're going to get more flooding.
I mean, considering some of the rock that's going on the was it Patterson to Noronga cycle lane seawall protection is having to come out of both was it Kiwi Point Quarry and Horokiwi Quarry to sit or fill it from both. One's up Narrow Gorge, one's just before Petone Overbridge. And that's where they're having to get that out of there. Now, I'm not sure if that's more suitable for what it is, but, possibly where that could come from could have been from, in the case of Wellington, the Hutt River, or Te Awa Kairangi.
Yeah. So you know what the moral of the story is, right? Fixing your rivers is not a nice to have. It's an essential if you want to save lives and protect the economy.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Just look at the damage that Cyclone Gabriel has done.
Well,
slash piles, all that stuff.
Also, Jason sat there and said here earlier, I hear you can't insure a forest of trees either, can you?
I don't actually know the answer to that question. I'd have to look it up. But I know that you can insure forestry equipment and you can insure your business and you can insure, I don't know about the trees themselves, though. That's interesting.
Yeah,
you can
but
insure
that's
land.
actually a good point to actually put up there is the fact, you can insure your equipment. It's like insuring my car that I drive, my APV that I drive, that I pay, it's about $1,000 a year insurance premiums for it. I mean, put it this way, at the rate I'm going, in another couple of years' time, I would pay just as much insurance premiums as what I paid to buy it.
Soraya's absolutely hit the nail right on the head. Horizons charge our farm an extra cost for having a river run through it. You do pay extra, but Horizon often have to be pushed to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a damn good point. Yeah. You have a targeted rate put on there because you have a stream going through that, and I think I know which stream you're talking about because it's the one that probably runs behind David and Diane's place at Kirkwood's Cafe. But at the same time, when do they do shit about it? Exactly. It's not the only one. Raywin and Donald Kirkwood had the same thing. Ironically, another Kirkwood, but not the same Kirkwood's Cafe. Ironically, it was the only two Kirkwoods that were in the phone book, which was Raywin and Donald and Kirkwood's Cafe over David and Diane. And both of them actually had streams running through their property. Yeah, it was quite intriguing on that one.